And Derek wore Chisora against good old Davy Price. This is a fight that actually interests me more, I think, than Chisora and Parker. I love David Price. I was so happy. And I like Dave Allen, but I was so happy when he just boxed the ears off of Dave Allen. I couldn't believe how one-dimensional he made Dave Allen look. And everyone knows that Dave Allen is one-dimensional. But nobody, I really don't think anybody saw that happening. I mentioned it was a possibility in my video that it could happen, but you could see David Price flagging in kind of rounds 5 and 6 where he always does, ready to be taken. And Dave Allen, thankfully, wasn't able to pull the trigger. And Price seemed to recognize this, and his second win came back. I hope he's able to take that learning that he does have a second wind, and that it's not inevitable he gets knocked out past round 5, and he can apply it to this fight here. Because if he does, I think we have a real pick'em fight. And I never thought I would hear myself say that with Chisora and Price. If you'd asked me at any point in the last 4 years. But I think if he can take that mental, turning of the corner into this fight, I think it's very, very interesting. I don't think there's anyone doubting the fact that Price certainly has the capability and the talent to outbox Derek Chisora. And interestingly, we've seen Chisora lose interest when he's fighting pure boxers. Look at the Tyson Fury rematch especially. He just gets bored. When he's chasing a guy around all the time, he gets bored. And he gets tired and he gets discouraged. If he's eating a really stiff jab in his face all night, there's no reason why Price, on paper at least, couldn't do that for the duration. However, we can't ignore the fact that Chisora seems to be hitting harder than he's ever hit in his entire career. And David Price has never been blessed with a granite chin, shall we say. I think the first couple of rounds of this fight might be quite telling. It might be Chisora coming out from the get-go, racing forward and applying pressure. And if he's able to sit on Pricey's chest, I think ultimately he's going to knock him out. And I don't know how much energy Price is going to have to use to kind of pushing him off and keeping at the end of a jab. That might mentally drain Pricey and kind of convincing him that he's more tired than he really is. I'm sure he's been practicing and sparring with people replicating Chisora's style. And I don't think it's a difficult style to replicate. And that, what Chisora does isn't necessarily... Chisora actually can box, which is quite interesting. I've seen him box earlier in his career, and I don't know why he doesn't do more of it. But what he's doing traditionally isn't really that complicated. It's not that... It wouldn't be that difficult to find sparring partners to bring the pressure relentlessly. What's difficult and what makes Chisora quite unique is that, providing his mindset's right, he can do this for 12 rounds. He can keep coming forward and applying this relentless pressure. And he's not as easy to hit as he used to be, for sure. But I do wonder if he can get past Price's jab. I have a feeling he's just going to walk and kind of push Price back to the ropes and sit on his chest. And again, Price is going to have to tie him up, spin off, and how often can that repeat? And Chisora does throw these lovely kind of jumping hooks, and Price is notorious for leaving his chin up in the air. So many times he punches, he throws that, and he doesn't throw the right hand as much as he used to. I'm not sure why, if it's fear or a stamina thing, or I don't know. But when he does throw his right hand, his jaw is literally just screaming to be punched. It'd be very easy to counter, and Chisora, I think, will look to kind of counter over the top in typical kind of Chisora style while Price is throwing that right hand. I do think that while Price can, while he's maintaining the jab, I do think it will be difficult for Chisora to be reaching his chest, but I don't know how difficult it's going to be, or if Chisora is going to be able to sidestep around it and kind of, as I said, get into that space where Price just really can't operate because his arms are so damn long. Again, if you put a gun to my head, I think Chisora by knockout. If you'd asked me this prediction prior to the David Allen fight, I wouldn't be having any hesitation whatsoever. But it's difficult to gauge and to factor how much confidence the Dave Allen fight will give David Price. It could even unlock this potential that's been waiting for an entire career. It literally could be that defining for him. Or he might default back to type. 2 or 3 rounds looking good, then he starts kind of becoming a bit more labored, and then he allows the kind of up close fighting, and it could just be a matter of time before he's clipped. It's a difficult fight to call, but like I said, I would go with Chisora by knockout. Again, of course, I wouldn't be surprised now if Price can box. I would be surprised if he can maintain that for the duration of the fight, if I'm honest. I don't think Chisora would allow himself to be beaten by somebody he knows he can knock out in a single punch. Chisora could, of course, kind of find himself being inhibited a little bit by Price's jab, lowering his volume to keep his kind of his guard high and just kind of waiting for these one big shots. And if Price is able to kind of move out of the way of them, maybe he can pull it off. I think that's I'm just again exploring scenarios and what would have to happen for either fighter to win. And I think for Price to win, you really have to kind of discourage Derek, get him into that kind of switch off zone, just keep peppering him with a jab and be mindful of these occasional huge bombs that come out of nowhere or occasional flurries that he does. If Chisora is able to step past the jab, able to kind of slip it and jump in, then I think it could be a shorter night for Price. But an interesting fight, and I think considering they had like 2 weeks notice or whatever, maybe 3 weeks from the Parker dropout, I think it's a great replacement. It saved the card for sure as far as I'm concerned. As I mentioned in the other video, you may not have seen it yet, the Prograis and Taylor fight for me isn't generating as much hype as it should. It's not generating that much excitement for me, even though I think it's 2 fantastic elite level fighters. So I think this really bolsters the card, brings it back, and definitely deserves to be, comparatively speaking, on pay-per-view. So, of course, I wish both guys best of luck, and may the best man win. It'll be interesting to see. If Price wins this, the whole world is his oyster, really. Everything could change. Because Chisora, where he is now, he's still a credible scalp for sure. And let's not forget, he was winning. I thought he beat Dillian Whyte the first fight, and he was beating Dillian Whyte in the second fight. He was ahead on everyone's scorecards. He just had to finish the fight in the same manner, and he would have won. How crazy is that? Then he would have been in line for a world title. But that obviously isn't how it happened, because he does have an air of vulnerability about him as well, especially early in fights. Which, it's a while since Price has knocked anyone out. Maybe that big right hand down the pipe is going to come into fruition. But of course, if you're Price and you do hurt Chisora, do you go for the finish? Because the first thing he does, if it doesn't work out, if you can't get him out of there, his brain's going to scream at him, "You're gassed, give up, you don't have any energy." So that'd be difficult. I think he might actually just play it safe. And if he can hurt him once, he can continue to hurt him throughout the fight. But we'll see. Like I said, please let me know your thoughts. It's a very, very interesting matchup. I said it's a great save for the card. So take care, folks.